Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Molly. I'm a mum here in the UK of 2 children. My husband and I have a biological 4-year-old daughter, and last year we brought home our little boy through UK adoption. I've had lots of messages the last couple of weeks from prospective adopters in the UK adoption assessment process asking me about learning logs. Oh, the joys. I remember learning logs vividly because I used to panic about them all the time. So in the UK adoption assessment process, or at least in our experience and in most people's experience from what I know, you as a prospective adopter are expected to put together some of your own independent learning. So as a brief, throughout the adoption assessment process, you will have training by your local authority or your agency where social workers or external trainers will train you on everything you need to know to become an adoptive parent. However, panel normally like to see how you have educated yourself, taken some time to research and explore some of the realities and challenges and positives that you can expect parenting a little one. So firstly, I'm going to take you through a bit about my learning log, how I laid it out, what I included, and then I'm going to finish off with my 5 top tips for building your perfect adoption learning log. So this is my learning log here. I did do a digital copy in the end because we had to submit everything through Dropbox because of COVID. But normally in a panel, I believe you would submit everything physically and they would pass it around panel members ahead of panel. So I wanted to organise this learning log file of facts as easily as possible so that it was easy for panel and social workers to navigate. So I sectioned my learning log off through these dividers that you can get here. Just get them from any shop. And I split them into sections such as TV, books, podcasts, films, YouTube, real life experience if we've been to an Adoption UK community group, or if we had spoken to an experienced adopter and learned something from that, we would put that in. I also had a section for homework, so we were given homework by our social worker throughout the UK adoption assessment process. For example, to research post-adoption depression and write a reflective log on what we'd learned, we would include that. So I have a section for all of our homework as well. I have a section for certificates. So we did some online training that our agency asked us to do. We also did some that we found through like First for Adoption, and you can find free courses through like Open University, for example. So any certificates we got from all of that training, we would also put into the certificate section. And then we also had a section for preparation training, because when you are in the UK adoption process, you will undertake preparation training, which is run by your local authority or your agency, and it's like an intense few-day training to prepare you as best as possible to become an adoptive parent. And we did lots of hands-on activities in our training, such as we built a family shield, we drew a roadmap to our road to adoption, and so all of those things I wanted to put in our learning log to show panel that this is what we've done, this is what we've done in our preparation training, and this is what we've learnt from it. So let me find this is something from our preparation training. This was a TheraPlay prep day, and we did an activity with talc and handprints. I want to save it as well because it's very special, but we included it in our learning log because it was something that we'd done through our training. Another one, for example, here is our family chest, and this is a chest that we thought of all the things we would keep or save for our future little one that might be beneficial for them, like letters, their first picture with us, first item we bought him, etc. And so you can really include anything in your learning log. It doesn't just have to be, you know, write-ups of a book review or anything like that. It's yours to form. But for me, I just wanted to put absolutely everything in here so it was all in one place, and it'll look nice and thick. So my top tips for building a really good adoption learning log. First tip, find out from your social worker what the expectation is. How long do they want it to be? Do they want you to do a certain amount per week? Do they want to see like 50 in total? Do they want you to split it evenly between partners if you're adopting as a couple? Ask them, get a number, and then you've got something to work towards. My second tip would be to set a weekly or fortnightly goal of how much learning you want to do. So mine and my husband's goal was that we do one piece of learning per week throughout the entire adoption process to just keep us consistent, keep us always continuously learning, and it really did work. So, you know, we didn't beat ourselves up if we had a week off or if we were too busy with work one week. And neither am I saying read a book in a week, because it can take a lot longer than a week to read a book. It might just be as simple as watching a YouTube video or listening to 5 minutes of a podcast and writing some notes down on that. So set yourself a bit of a target so you've got something to work to and you can kind of keep yourself accountable for doing your learning. Third tip is to find a template. So one of the questions I get all the time is, what do they want to know? How do I lay it out? Our agency were amazing and sent us a template. And so if you haven't been sent a template, or your agency or local authority doesn't have a template, you can just make your own. It's pretty simple. What was included in ours was, what did you learn today? What are the following key points about this learning? What is a source? So for example, we put like podcast, creator, just the name. What did you find interesting? What feelings did this learning or activity trigger for you? And do you need to complete any further research? So we would just fill those little questions in after each piece of learning, save it, print it off, put it in the file. My fourth tip is to use a mix of resources, and this is definitely something we did. If you are, for example, adopting as a couple like me and my husband did, my husband is not a reader at all, whereas I love books. And I love journal articles and big wordy magazines, and so we kind of agreed between us that I would focus on all of the hefty reading, my husband would watch YouTube videos and listen to podcasts. And what we would do is, so that we weren't repeating everything, we'd do one each, and then we'd have a bit of a chat over dinner about our key findings, have a good discussion about it. And then it saved us having to both like redo that learning for each other. It was very much a joint effort. So use a mix of resources between you, or if you're a single adopter, use a mix of resources for yourself. There is no expectation it should just be books. There's so many resources out there now. There's YouTube, there's podcasts, there's documentaries. There's documentaries on YouTube if you can't find them on your TV. There's the Adoption UK magazine, the Adoption UK website. If you're a student, get to the university library, look up journal articles. They're really, it's endless, the amount of learning that you can do. My fifth tip would be to keep everything you have learned in one summary. So as you can see, I went a bit OTT with my learning log, and it was pretty vast. This is for me and my husband, but there's a lot in here for panel to flick through. So although I'd sectioned it off to make it easy to find, I did keep every single thing we'd learned in one Excel spreadsheet, and all it said was the date, the source, you know, was it a podcast, was it a book, was it a documentary, the author or person presenting, and our key findings. And I would maybe just put a couple of bullet points next to each one. And so what we'd done by the end of the adoption assessment process 6 months later was we had a pretty long Excel spreadsheet, but not as long as this folder, so that if panel were in a rush or they didn't want to read every single reflective log, they could just scan their eyes over our key findings from that learning activity, and it was just an easy way to reference everything we'd done. So it sounds faffy, it sounds like a lot of admin, but if you start it from the beginning and you keep it going, it doesn't take up much time. It takes up 2 minutes max after you've done a piece of learning just to fill that in, and it makes it a lot easier for yourself, a lot easier for your social worker, and a lot easier for panel. My last tip is, do not pressure yourself. I was such a stress head about learning logs because I wanted to be the teacher's pet. I want panel to think, wow, they've really done a lot of learning, really high quality learning, they've used a mix of resources. But to be honest, panel are not going to be spending ages looking at your reflective learning. They just want to see that you've learned a lot that is going to benefit you. We should be learning for ourselves and not for the benefit of panel, not just to show that we've done it. We are learning for the purpose of bettering ourselves and preparing ourselves to be the best parents possibly we can be to our future little ones. I hope that has been helpful for some of you and giving you some clarity in what kind of we did for our learning log. But again, do have a conversation with whoever you are adopting with, because they may have their own guidelines. If you have any questions or comments about the adoption process in general, then I will link my UK adoption process video down below, just explaining the process for us and in our experience. But if you do have more questions after that, then feel free to find me on Instagram at MollyMamaAdopt. Just drop me a message. I'm happy to share more about our story or offer you any advice that I can that worked for us in our circumstances. Please also subscribe to my channel if you can. It's just the red button down below, or my face will be in one of these corners. And I will try and upload some content weekly. Trying being the key word, because COVID and 2 kids at home, Thank you for watching, guys. Bye.